Hello, my name is Carol. I'm here to talk to you this afternoon, this evening, this morning, whatever time it may be for you. I want to talk to you about fibroid tumors. Fibroid tumors, no more. I want to teach you how to rid yourself of fibroid tumors. It's just a matter of education. So I'm going to educate you today on how to rid yourself of fibroid tumors. I have a lot of paperwork here that I have been collecting and have been writing over the years. Actually, I'm working on a book, and I don't really know how to put the book together. So if you're out there and you can help me get this book together, you can be a co-author or whatever. But I do have a lot of literature that I've collected over the years. And I'm talking about since 1987, I started having issues with fibroid tumors. But they're gone. And I'm going to tell you how I rid myself of fibroid tumors. First of all, I want to show you what I used. And it is the progesterone cream. This was the cream that I first originally used. This is how it looked when I bought the cream in like 2002. Now it looks like this. But the jar is the size of this, but it's called Mino-Ease. It was progesterone cream that administrated, menopause formula. But now it's the same thing, but it's in a different package. I'm going to give you the product number just in case you want to get it from Vitamin World. It's 8547, just in case you want to try it. Now this is how I used it. I took the cream. I'm showing you this first. I'm not going to wait until the end of this to show you. I'm showing you in the beginning. I did not use a lot of cream. In fact, the jar actually says use so much, but I used less than was actually on the jar. This is what I did with the cream. I didn't use that much, and I used it about twice a day. I took the cream, and this is what I do with it. That's it. Let it soak in, let it go on. Do it twice a day for like 21 days on the cream and like 7 days off the cream. 21 days on, 7 days off. I've been doing that because fibroid tumors, they are really a hormone imbalance. And what the progesterone cream actually does is place the progesterone back into your system, so you can balance out the level of estrogen and progesterone. Okay, what I did that for months. When I did not realize that I was shrinking the fibroids. When I went back to my gynecologist after I had been using the cream for 4 months, he examined me and he was like surprised. He said, "Did you heal yourself?" I was surprised too. Because I thought that really when I used the cream, it was just basically stopping me from bleeding. And I was bleeding so bad, that was my problem, and it just was a mess. So I have a lot of things here that I want to read to you today, and just bear with me. So I'm going to do this in parts, because I can only be on here for so many minutes in one segment. So this will be called Part 1. Here are some pamphlets. I was studying these pamphlets when I first started dealing with the fibroid tumors and trying to reduce them or trying to get rid of them. But in these pamphlets, I would study for a way out. But of course, there weren't any ways. All the ways that these pamphlets suggested was ways of surgery. And that's one thing that I just did not want to do. Surgery was definitely not even an option for me. So I'm going to just go through with you through some of the things that I went through. Also, I wanted to show you this. This is a letter. This is, well, basically a little note from my OBGYN, Dr. Anthony Militia. He actually wrote me a little note saying that Carol Tompkins is a patient of mine. She has a history of uterine fibroids in the past. And the past, and the past, meaning over in the past. I know you know what that means, but it just makes me feel good, thank God. Over the years, her condition has improved significantly without surgery. So I just wanted to let you know that my doctor, he did give me a little note about my the uterine fibroids in the past. Now I want to read some of my journal to you. This is January the 10th, 1995. Hello, journal. I'm still leaking blood. Not as much as before. I am feeling pretty darn good today. No cramps and no discomfort at all. Loving myself and loving my life. All is truly well with myself. I'm taking this all to heart because if I could have kept bleeding the way that I was, I don't know where I would be. Dead, probably. Oh well, I will write you again tomorrow. Before I go to my next, the next day of writing my journal, I just want to say this. You must be patient. Now, I went back to my doctor in 4 months. They could have shrunk down in 2 months or 3 months. But I just want people or women to know that you must be patient. You did not get fibroids overnight, and they will not diminish overnight. Things get better with time. But as soon as you start using the cream, you will feel 100% better in like a week. It will be like you don't even have fibroids. So I'm just saying, if you decide to do what I did, I'm definitely not a doctor. I'm just letting you know what I did. And I know that what I did, I do believe if you do what I did, that you will be able to diminish the fibroid tumors. The next day of my journal, I said, I feel so drained today. I am not going to do much at all today. Just relax and watch television most of the day. That is something that I don't do much. Oh well, that is all for now. I am not bleeding too heavy at all. I'm having heartburn these last few days. I have been having heartburn these last few days. I'm going to take something for it and call it a night. The next day, which was next month, the 5/30/1998. I have been hearing this word for the last few years, hysterectomy. I was diagnosed with fibroid tumors years ago. I've gotten not only a second opinion, but also a third, fourth, fifth, and sixth opinion. I have probably had more opinions than I have hair on my head. I was so determined that I would not bow down to such an operation. I was up against some very strong opinions, but my opinion outstood them all. I began to read everything that I most possibly could get my hands on about this ugly problem. I know that there is a solution to every problem, and I have to find mine. I have a very serious bleeding situation. I sit on the toilet and bleed. I began using lots of toilet paper to contain the blood flow. Then I used tampons and 1 pad. Then I used 1 tampon and 2 pads. Then I used 3 pads and a tampon. I began to change myself every hour. Then I used 3 washcloths together. Then I used hand towels. I would put 2 and 3 of them together, folding them many times. Then I used Depends and Pampers, which were very uncomfortable. I did all of this when my monthly was on. When I was growing worse, when it would be growing worse, I would use the small bath towels. It seems that if the bath towels would work very well alone with a piece of plastic against my underwear. I would clean these towels constantly. I would wring them out, and the blood would be wringing out of the towels like water over my fingers. I would be oh so afraid to sit on people's furniture for the thought of blood getting on people's furniture. When my monthly was off, I still would bleed. I would wear 2 pads at a time. In between periods, I would bleed. I felt like I was bleeding to death. Some mornings when I woke up, I would say to myself, oh, I am still living, and be surprised that I was still here on this planet. Some of my associates would tell me that I was going through the change of life, but little did they know that I was losing life. I went through this bleeding off and on. It was more on than off. I have been bleeding for months now. Don't know when my periods are on or off. The doctors would always tell me to get my uterus removed all of the time, but I could not do it. My fears weren't many. I was totally against being cut. I didn't know how I would be after the operation was over. I just prayed once about it and went on with my bleeding. Okay, journal, I will write again soon. January the 27th, 1995. Drip, drip, spot, spot, and spot. Drip, spot, spot, drip. Man, oh man, what can I say? I'll write again later. Same bleeding, different day. 12/29. 12/29. I am in Cramp City today. I took pain pills 4 different times today. I feel terrible today. I want to crawl in the bed and stay there, but as you know, business goes on as usual. I don't feel like combing my hair, washing my butt, or cooking dinner today. I just want to be left alone. I'll be glad when bedtime comes so I can crawl up in a ball and stay there. All that I could do is drink some water. I am so miserable today. Good night. I'll write you later when I feel better. Hello, journal. This morning about 4:30 a.m. I woke up to a pure cloggy mess. My bed was ruined. Big long lumps of liver-looking pieces were on my pads. I had on 3 pads. It was so much of this mess that I must have lost about 3 pounds. Not really, but that's just how it seemed. I never thought about getting on the scale. I measured my stomach before my period came on, and it was 42 inches. Isn't that sickening? I am going to measure my stomach again after my period goes off. It's been 42 inches for a while now. Even if it goes down an inch, I'll be happy. Well, the evening turned out so much better than the morning. The bleeding slowed up tremendously. I felt so much better, full of energy and pain-free. Well, I'm invited out to a spaghetti dinner tonight, and I'm going to feast. I'll write you again tomorrow. Hello, journal. I am still leaking blood. Not as much as before. I feel pretty darn good today. No cramps and no discomfort at all. Loving myself and loving my life. All is truly well with myself. I'm taking this all to heart, because if I could have kept bleeding the way that I was, I don't know where I would be. Dead probably. Oh well, I'll write you again tomorrow. That's some of my journals. I'm going to keep on going with some other things that I have written here, just to show you some of the things that I went through while I was going through this fibroid tumor issue. I also have some paperwork here where I went to the Chinese herb doctor. And it says, I went to this Chinese herb doctor and tried to get healed with Chinese herbs. The visit cost $40 for the first initial visit. And after that, you just had to pay for the herbs. I hoped that this would work. And of course, it did not. I would take the herbs home that he prescribed and follow the instructions to a T. I spent a lot of money going back to this guy, buying tea, boiling tea, and drinking tea. Did not work for a minute, and it did not work for an hour. I think I still owe this guy some money. It was terrible how much money I spent in trying to receive my healing from Chinese herbs. Well, I think maybe I need to stop there for a while, and I'm going to go on to part 2. Thank you so much.